For me, I think of relationships as business currency and also just as like humanity.
Welcome back to the Herbal Skillshare Marathon. In this session, we are going to be hearing from Crystal Gordon, who is going to be sharing about how you can connect with potential clients and really allow them to enter your realm of possibility and what you can offer as an herbalist. And from every step from that initial connection, but also in the way that you connect with them throughout the delivery of your programs, how you can make a stand for what's important for them and really advocate for them and what is possible for them with the assistance of herbal medicine and what you offer as an herbalist. So without much further ado, let's head over to Crystal Gordon and take it away.
When I first started out, I was just all online. So I started really creating programs in the online space. So I had like detoxification programs, gut restoration programs, and that's really grown now into online and in-person programs, workshops, and retreats. So a lot of my business is really actually working one-on-one with people. And this is just in the space of like Zoom calls, kind of like how we're recording this. So I work with usually women from all over the world. And so we meet one-on-one, and it's usually longer term programs that I really offer. And those are usually 6 months in length. And then I also offer group programs. Usually those have to do with emotional eating and, our relationship to food, and also with hormonal health, of course, too. So it's like been like this integration of all my different passions and all my different trainings. And so a big piece for me is holding space and creating a container at which can really support someone in growing and in really seeing their health concerns, or it might be, because I do work in that realm of some emotional eating and food addictions in that way too, to really hold that space for them to be able to resolve these health concerns and everything that's going on in their lives. I love my one-on-one programs. They're really a big basis of what I do. They're not for everyone. But they definitely work for those who have some of those deeper health concerns or really want to learn. Like they're just like, they're like little sponges and they want to absorb like all that information, whether it be about herbs, nutrition, healing emotional wounds and trauma and all that sort of stuff. A big piece I think of also what I do is I invite herbs in, not also to ingest, but to sit with and to develop a relationship with. And that is something that has personally helped me. So it's something that I utilize also with my clients. So I might do like an herb of the month, or if they're going through something, some sort of hardship in their life and they need that emotional support, we'll bring in herbs. So if they have said, I'm really curious about chamomile, and like, I've drank it before, I don't really know much about it, or it could be something else that they've heard of that's kind of random, and they'll be like, I don't know why, but I feel called to it. So we'll talk about that plant, and then I might have them do a meditation with that plant and really sit with that plant and be in conversation and connection. So I use that also as a greater piece to herbs as a connection to nature, as a place of stillness, as a place of meditation. This also I've really learned has worked well for those that are going through a lot emotionally or with eating disorders, in order to slow down. And so to connect and really treasure, I would say, in a way, like either food or an herb. So I also have homework like that might be a little bit different than, tinctures or teas and things of that way. Is to also just have little homework assignments like that with herbs, which I've found to be really beneficial. And then along with herbs, I also do, since I have a background in nutrition, so I also give them nutritional advice if that's what they're seeking. And it's so fun to watch people get excited about that too, rather than just being so distant from like, here, take this tincture because you have a cold, or this syrup, or whatever it is, that they're actually creating really this deepened connection where they have a relationship now with the plants. And so they have a greater respect for it. And so they really feel empowered. And I really want people to leave my programs feeling like, yeah, like I now I can go and support my family and my friends too, because I've taken this time for myself. So it's just so cool. It's so cool to watch people like get excited about herbs because they maybe have been like, yeah, I've had elderberry syrup, but that's kind of like it, you know, that they got from their mom or their grandparents or whatever. And then they've only ever picked up stuff because they knew they had a symptom rather than looking at those deeper, you know, underlying areas and how they can be supported with herbs. So it's just, I just love it. It's so cool. I think people are attracted to those that are passionate about what they do. And it's not always about knowing everything. I think that passion and being willing to continually learn and being in devotion to your practice and to, you know, what you want to share out in the world. And that's how I see this. It's and I think for a lot of herbalists that is, it's like our soul's purpose, you know, to help the world heal, to help other people heal, to be in charge of what that means for them. And so when we come at it with that passion, it's like I've worked with people and it's not that they knew everything or had the right training or any of that, but they were so passionate and they were like still always willing to learn that I'm like, I'm just, yeah, I want to learn from you. Like, I want to be as excited. Like, I'm excited because you're excited. Like, you know, it's just, it's so magnetic, I think. For me, I think of relationships as business currency and also just as like humanity. When I first started my business, I thought like the minute like I was like, okay, I'm seeing clients, that all these people would like come rushing in. And that was not the case. And that was a great learning lesson for me. And then I think I went into this place when I first started my business too, that I was so caught up in needing to make money that that I forgot that people are people, and that it really is about relationships and about caring for a person, about being in service. And so when I think about building relationships, it's not just to get a client, but it's about being in service and being, I look at my larger purpose of why I'm here and why I do what I do. And for me, that is, I want to leave the world a better place than how I arrived here. And so if I look at it like that, part of that is being in service to others and in service to nature, and, you know, in service to this earth. And so when I think about that, there's like this devotion as seeing people as people. And I think a big part of it for me is also remembering how I felt in the past when I felt that I was possibly, people just wanted to get me as a client rather than seeing me as a human being. And we all want that. We all want to feel that we're actually heard and listened to and seen for who we are as people. And I've learned that lesson because I think I've definitely made mistakes in the past with my business of not doing that. So for me, I think first and foremost is treating people as I would want to be treated, and to really see them and acknowledge that. And so I think we're also getting to that place. I've been in the online world for a long time. And so it's definitely gotten more busy, where in the past, I think, you know, there weren't as many programs and all this stuff coming at you. And now there's like so much noise. And so I think now to also stand out, it's to build relationships and to connect with people. For me, that's come in, I think it's different for everyone. For some people, that's being in person and holding workshops, whether it be free or for, you know, a smaller investment, and to just talk to people. I think that is like one of the simplest things, is just to be open and to listen to people about what they need and what they want. So listening for me is something I've definitely learned and am learning. I'm a continual student in that. And for me, I've done it online in the way of a Facebook group. I have a free Facebook group. And for a while, I was holding the free master classes every single month. So to be in service, because I do have these higher level programs and I do have other paid programs, I also wanted to give an offering for free each month in service to my community. And so that was a way for me to also build relationships and really connect and see what people needed. So I think it was a both and, because a relationship goes both ways, as a business owner, as a human being, and also to potential clients, is to also, like I said, be a listening ear and go, okay, like this is, like I've definitely put out stuff, and even that was free, and I was like, I thought this was going to be like this great offering and like all these people are going to show up, and then it was like crickets otherwise. And then at other times I put something out and I'm like, oh, okay, people really want that. So, okay, cool. Like I'll do that. And that's a big part to me, is like pulling your audience, and yeah, really being in the devotion and service of building relationships, because it is, I think, to me, your most valuable currency that you have as a business owner. And and I don't think marketing has to be so like, I got to do this and I got to do that. Of course, there's work involved, but I think the simplest things often work best. And that's just to show up and be in service. And I think that's sometimes the best thing we can really do in terms of marketing and building relationships. They're really one and the same to me. And I think that's a big part of what I've been doing also in my business coaching with other healers, is like changing the conversation from sales is really about being in service. For me, it's also to be in service to the client of their commitment, of what they say they want. And if somebody is coming to me and we're having that conversation, and I can tell that they really do need or desire a longer term program, for me, I'm holding them to that level of commitment that they say they want for themselves. And so I'm making a stand for the possibility of what they can have. And so I remember my service as making a stand for them. So I'm in 100% devotion to making a stand for the possibility that they can have more health, more abundance, more life, all of that. Because I think as herbalists, people are usually coming to us because they don't feel all that great. And there can be many different layers for what that looks like. And so I have noticed when people are like fully committed to that financial investment, it's not necessarily, it's about money, but it's not about money. It's about the energy exchange. And I always remember that money is an energy exchange. So if I'm going to hold that space in that container for someone, right, it's the energy that they're giving back to it, of like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this. Like, this is my commitment. And so I always remember that as like, yeah, I'm going to nudge you to make a stand for what you say you want. And so part of that is making that financial investment. And so I think there's a lot of work that I've done, like hiring different coaches and books and different trainings with my own stories around money, and that money isn't a bad thing in itself. It's just like a piece of paper. It's a currency. It's an energy. And so I really had to do my own work around that, what that looked like. And also too, I remember that we invest in what is our priority. And of course, we're all at different levels of what that may look like, and we need to honor that for each person. But to be able to go, if I know something is my priority, I'm more likely to invest in it at a higher level. And so if someone is, coming to me and this is their biggest priority, then I'm going to make a stand that is showing up in their life, and that's part of, I think, where my coaching also comes in too, is because I am pretty straightforward. I can be a tough cookie, I would say, when it comes to that, about having those open conversations, that if I'm not seeing it as a priority in somebody's life, that I'll point that out. Because I've had to do that with myself. And I think one of the ways I've done that is also with money, and seeing like, wow, like I've said, this is really important to me. This is my priority, but notice that none of my excess income, after, paying my rent and, food and all those things, is going towards that. So like, I really have to look at my own stories around money, and also my own priorities. And so that's a conversation that I have. And I start all of my consultations with people in this very honest, space of like, I'm here also to make a stand for you. And whatever that looks like, I'm not here to, and I'm not attached to it, I would also say, is not being attached to whether or not somebody signs up. That has been a big lesson for me, I think, too, in within the money piece, within the investment piece, is not to be attached, whether, for my own needs. I don't need anybody to sign up with me to be okay. What I'm really just doing is holding space for them. And if I come at it with that energy, it's totally different than like, oh, I really hope this person signs up. I might really want to work with someone, but there has to be an unattachment of the outcome too at the end of a consultation. For me, is like, I'm here to hold space. I'm here to hold you accountable, but I'm not attached to whether or not you say yes. especially I think like as herbalists, we love what we do. Like I don't know anybody really in the herbal realm that's like, I don't really like it. Like we're all so passionate about it. And so we really do want to like do this work. We want to bring it out into the world. And so if I take a no as like somebody's rejecting me, that that is not my client's responsibility. That's my own. And I think that is part of doing our own work as healers is we have to do our own work first about being okay within ourselves, being okay with hearing no. It's one of when I was working with a coach a few years ago, I think what she originally had said to me is go for no. She said, go for no, get as many no's because it means you're closer to a yes. And so it was also in getting used to rejection in a way. And so it was like, no, no, no. And like I was going through it and I was like, oh, I feel like everybody is rejecting my work and like my passion and like all these things. And then I really did a lot of work around that. But it's like, it's not about me. And it also was a learning curve of like, how do I approach sales, right? So there's like, it's multidimensional and like all of that. And about like needing somebody to fulfill something within me. And that's my responsibility. And so I think that that's why being a business owner, I think is one of the greatest personal development experiences any of us can go through, because we're like, we've got tech, we got marketing, we got sales, we have beyond just like creating the programs, we have trainings and also knowing our work in the world and like also being good at that. And so I think it's like just stepping into that devotion. I always remember the word service and devotion. I have to be devoted to being in service. And part of that is doing my own work first. I think we've all probably been there when somebody's like, you know, we feel like you need to buy this, you need to buy this. It's like an icky, crunchy energy versus like, yeah, like I see this as being like really great for you. And I'm here to say that you deserve it and that I'm going to hold space for you. And I'm fully committed to you getting it and having all that you want and feeling absolutely amazing and to resolve your health concerns. And I'm going to make a stand that that happens for you versus like, you really like, you know, just having that weird energy of like ickiness where they're like, buy, buy, buy. I always remember the places at the mall, you know, where they're like right in your face and you're like, that's like almost like aggressive, angry energy versus like a calm, grounding stance. I think when we're willing to hold that space for a person and hold that space for ourselves, even too, when we're looking at something, there's more possibility, but like also our verbiage and how we use words of like, oh, I can't, or how much does it cost first? But first, like, you know, we can get to that. Like first, let's see what's possible. I find that most of my clients that do go through my 6-month program, we still have a relationship, even ones that I've had like from 3-4 years ago. And sometimes will come back. So I think it's just ensuring that they're not just like left. And so I might even focus on that during the last month of the program is like, you know, if I know they're not going to continue for whatever reason, like they might have said that, you know, we might have gone through everything that they needed to go through. So then I'll set them up for success of like, here's what, you know, to support you as you go on your journey. So I think everybody's a little different in that, but I do always have a conversation about that before the program is officially ended. To be in the joy of it and not to put pressure on your passion. And I think that's something I've definitely learned because I was pressuring myself to make money, to have to do it a certain way that I like in the past have lost passion for what I did because I got like burnout because I was like focusing on business. And I think if you are in the joy of it and you're excited about offering something, do it. Like if you're like, you know, like I really love this and you have any doubts or fears coming up about you're not good enough, like, because there's so many other herbalists that are so much more experienced than you. Because I definitely feel like I'm a baby herbalist, as I call myself. And so like I've definitely had fear creep in, but it's like if I'm in the joy of it, like, you know what, I really want to share this with people. This has made a huge difference in my life. Be in the joy of it and go out there. People show up and they're just going to be so excited for what you have to offer. So be in the joy of what you offer. And like if there's fear, to honor it and also not let it make the decision for you. Just be in like that fullness, like we're talking about, like it's so magnetic. So go out there and make the offering. Also, the other piece I would say is be willing to fail, and fail first is how I look at it. Like I think in any business is the willingness to have flops. I've had many, and I'm probably still will in the future. And I think just being willing to get up and get up and get up again, and just be willing to go, huh, I thought that was going to go like this and it's not quite working or whatever it is, but just keep getting up and learning from your mistakes or your so-called failure, because I really, in a way, like, don't believe in failure, because I think when something flops or doesn't go as you expected, it is a way greater lesson than if something went well, because you can really look at it. And so I think being willing to fail first, and that goes along with doing your own work, being in the resilience of it, and just keep going. And so fail first really encompasses the devotion, the service, the commitment, all of those pieces. So go out there, be in the joy of it, get to know your ideal client, and fail first, flop. And, I think just going for it. Like, I think herbs, like herbalist is so needed right now in the world. It's like, we need healers. We need people in the healing arts. It's what this world needs. And so I'm like, everybody, like, if you have a passion for it, doesn't matter if you're perfect at it, just go and do it. Like, your work is so needed right now.